Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Sky 4 is over that breaking news, which comes to us from Farmington Hills. That's an apartment building that's on fire. You can still see some smoke in spots coming from the roof of what's called the Retreat at Farmington Hills. We have some video from earlier when this was a little more out of control. You can see flames were coming out of the roof, a lot more smoke at this point. The apartment building is off 12 Mile and Middle Belt, and we're told they have evacuated the building and they are continuing to. We don't know what caused this fire yet or if anybody was hurt, but we do have a crew headed to the scene right now. We'll bring you updates as we get them. Our other top story, a mother charged with murder for giving her 4-year-old son a deadly dose of fentanyl. Investigators say that boy went into cardiac arrest and died. It happened last year, but his mother is just now facing charges for it. Our Sean Lay is following this case from Detroit's West Side. And Sean, just kind of walk us through what we know now that these charges have been filed.
Well, Jason, this case is taking the breath away of parents here on the West Side where it took place behind me and all across as news breaks about this. Parents just can't believe what the motivation may be for a mom to admit that she gave narcotics laced with fentanyl to her 4-year-old on purpose with no motive. But here's exactly what we know right now. It happened here at the Franklin Village Apartments off of West Chicago on Detroit's West Side the night of April 10th. The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office says this mom, Siobhan Caprice Boone, was upstairs in their unit with her 4-year-old son, Anthony. Anthony's father was woken up by Boone's screams. Little Anthony was apparently in cardiac arrest. His father gave chest compressions. 911 was called. Medics and then doctors at the hospital tried to save the little boy, but it was too late. The medical examiner indicated that fentanyl was found in Anthony's system, but because it was unknown at the time how it got into his system, the cause and manner of death here was indeterminate. Fast forward to this past Friday, May 19th. That same mother, Siobhan Boone, called 911 and was transported to the Detroit Police Homicide Section, where she turned herself in for the murder of her son, Anthony. It's alleged that she was alone in her child's bedroom when Boone says she gave her little boy narcotics, causing little Anthony to go into cardiac arrest and die. Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy, in a statement to Local 4, quote, "There was an unexpected turn of events that brought us to these charges. Everyone deserves not to be forgotten. This child is no longer a cold case statistic. We will bring justice to Anthony and his family." Back here live on the West Side, not doing a very good job explaining the date, the timeline here. We're talking about April 10th of last year, and then the mom apparently overcome with guilt or grief over this. More than a year later, Jason calls 911 and then turns herself in and says she's the one who provided that fentanyl. It was unclear how Anthony got it all this time, over a year, and now she is facing these charges. Already been arraigned. Here are the charges: first-degree felony murder, child abuse, first-degree, and delivery of a narcotic causing death. Jason already being arraigned, and she's being held right now without bond. Back to you.
All right, Sean. In Harper Woods, a 10-year-old boy is in the hospital in critical condition after being shot. Investigators say it happened in a home on Washtenaw near Kelly and Moross on Saturday. The boy was shot in the head, and police say it appears he shot himself. Detectives are trying to figure out if this was intentional or an accident and how he got the gun. A man is shot in a Camaro as it was driving down a busy street on Detroit's West Side overnight. Police say someone fired multiple shots at the car on Schaefer in West Chicago. The car crashed into a pole. You see there the aftermath. The 28-year-old man inside was killed. No word right now on any suspects or the circumstances surrounding it. In about 2 hours, Governor Gretchen Whitmer will sign a new gun safety bill into law. It will create red flag laws in Michigan. The idea is to take guns away from people who are in distress or are dangerous. A family member, partner, police officer, or mental health professional can petition a court to have their guns temporarily removed. A hearing must be held before that happens. This is one of a series of gun safety laws passed by the Democratic-led legislature in the wake of the shooting at Michigan State University. Michigan will be one of 20 states to have red flag laws now in place. With a deadline approaching next week, the debt ceiling showdown is reaching a pivotal moment today. President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy will meet face-to-face without other congressional leaders at the table. As Bree Jackson reports from Washington, the talks clearly ramping up.
President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy spoke by phone on Sunday, and today they are meeting face-to-face in a last-minute push to try to reach a bipartisan deal to raise the debt ceiling. President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy meeting one-on-one at the White House today as the two sides try to find common ground over the debt limit.
I've done my part. We put forward a proposal that cuts spending by more than $1 trillion. Now it's time for the other side to move.
We may philosophically disagree, but we have respect for one another because we're coming from a place of principles.
Negotiators met behind closed doors on Capitol Hill Sunday, with the White House team emerging tight-lipped about any progress. But earlier in the day, Republicans hinted that differences remain.
A red line is spending less money, and unless and until we're there, the rest of it is really irrelevant.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen stresses that early June is a hard deadline for raising the debt ceiling and warns some bills would go unpaid.
We have to pay interest and principal on outstanding debt. We also have obligations to seniors who count on Social Security, our military that expects pay.
Federal leaders say just the threat of a default can weaken consumer confidence and hurt the country's credit rating.
It's the risk of the downgrade that we got to worry about, which is why it's incredibly time sensitive. There's no question about it.
Time is running out to avoid a first ever government default. And President Biden told reporters that he is not ruling out using the 14th Amendment to raise the debt ceiling on his own, but adds it would likely become tied up in a legal battle. In Washington, Bree Jackson, back to you.
If the country defaults, bills like Social Security and military pay would go unpaid. Experts say the financial markets could also sink. Interest rates could go higher, and the job market could see more layoffs. A beautiful start to the work week. Good afternoon, Mount Clemens. You never look so good. But it's not all roses in the forecast, but there's a lot of them. I guess as we get into our holiday weekend ahead of time, Ashley, I guess if you had a dozen roses here, we got 10 out of 12 maybe. Is that?
I would say maybe even 11 out of 12.
Oh, okay.
How about that? But yeah, as we take a closer look at your weather story, we hold on to sunshine for a few days, and it's a little misleading as you just took that live look outside because the sun is beaming out there. We just have wildfire smoke in our upper atmosphere causing hazy sunshine throughout the day today. Some cooler temperatures by midweek, and I would say this is the one rose that we plucked out of the dozen, but then drier weather heading into the holiday weekend, and today we're going to be above average. Already sitting at our average high, 72 degrees is where we're at right now in downtown Detroit, but a haze blocking out or diffusing some of that sunshine. Southerly breeze at 8 miles per hour will continue to usher in some warmer air this afternoon. 72 at Metro, 70 in Ann Arbor, same in Pontiac, a little cooler on the east side off of the water, 69 in Monroe, 65 in Mount Clemens, 68 up into Port Huron. Clouds and radar. Want to show you this. So this white that you see here, pretty much cloud cover to our north. But the gray that you see coming over the lake, that could be some of the smoke coming from Alberta. So for today, mostly sunny skies with the haze, warmer temperatures as we top out in the upper 70s. But given that that smoke's going to stick around and the low sun angles at sunset, we're going to have another beauty out there. And today's not the warmest day, Jason. Stick around.
I like that part of it. All right. If you're taking a road trip for Memorial Day, I have another expense you're going to need to account for. How much gas prices are going up and what to expect as we get closer to the holiday weekend. But first, what's falling from the sky in this Italian city? It's not rain or snow or meatballs. We'll get into that coming up. But before we go